They belong on the floor. Get on the floor and worship me. Okay, you know? And she was talking, a lot of high power men, they actually like to be dominated because it's freedom. They're always in control. They're always in the driver's seat. That's a lot on the nervous system, and they like to not think. And so she was sharing that she does, I can't say the stuff on YouTube, but she is the sweetest, literally like a little kitten. And then she has this other side to her, but the other side to her, I don't know for sure. Like, I haven't personally experienced it, but like it's dominating, but in a very central way. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then quietly knowing your truth. So all these people are saying all these different things about her and to her. And all these years, she's just quietly known her truth and just really done her. Now, that's not the proper sentence structure, but still, like, I think there's so much of power as when we can't change everyone's perception of us. I was listening to a podcast called Emma on the Brain, and she was talking about other people will construct a version of you in their heads that like doesn't even exist. And so sometimes it's quietly knowing, just quietly knowing your truth, right? Um, oh, there's so much to this. Okay, so those on YouTube, we can see another video and listen to the podcast. Keep going along for the ride. But I just think it's so powerful when we quietly know our truth. And I almost think of our truth as like the Olympic torch that they have in the Olympics, right? Like it just, you know, quietly know your truth and carry your light here. Um, Number 20, owning your sensual fragrance as a woman. So, owning your sensual fragrance as a woman, this goes to what I shared in the beginning of this video. This also goes with number 7. As women, a lot of us are scared to own how soft we are. A lot of us are scared to own how feminine we are. But a lot of us are also unaware which sensual design of ourselves, which sensual design of the goddesses we have on our bodies. The secret of lingerie is all in how you own it, right? So, what does your fragrance become alive with? How much sleep does your fragrance need? But also, like, owning your sensual fragrance, like getting to know her, right? Getting to know her and wearing her. A woman can wear her fragrance is unlike any other woman in the world. The shape of a woman is naturally feminine. And so, because of that, intentionally, women have been taught by society to not be a very feminine design, or I should say, the design of a woman is naturally feminine. So, women have been taught to wear themselves in an unfeminine shape. That way, others could benefit off of their design. I'm talking about this energetically, physically, spiritually. If someone has low morals, then you can access all her energy. Number 21 is kind of a recap of something we already talked about before, but it doesn't have to be explicit. It doesn't have to be vulgar to enjoy sex or own your sexuality. Like, we are sex, so it can be like beautiful. You can be classy and you can be feminine and you can still, like, we'll just call sweets. Well, for YouTube purposes, we'll just use the word sweets. You can be classy and feminine and still like sweets and still enjoy sweets. It doesn't have to be blacklisted like Samantha Jones in Sex and the City. I feel like in a way, yes, she was celebrated and someone wanted to secretly be here, but we're like, oh, but she was also blacklisted, I think, for that, you know, even like how she carried out. So yeah, you don't have to. I know I'm saying this so many ways, probably like the third or fourth time, but sexy is an aura. It's not how much skin you're showing. It's not the way that you dress. Do I naturally love wearing clothes that complement my silhouette, my shape? Yeah, but for me, like that's just my style. Plus, like I worked hard for this vibe. I can't even, that's like the style of my aura. that likes to be worn that way. So that's just kind of a difference. 22, I don't know if what I saw as 22 would be a good point or not, but I'll share it with you because I wrote it down. So the way that she said no to something that someone had was asking her a question with is she kind of fell and she said no. Now you have to be careful with this because there's men out there that are not men. We won't use that word. There are people out there who will take advantage if they're like, okay, this no isn't hard enough. No, right? So read the room, read the situation. But sometimes no, she just kind of fell in. She was like, no, to something someone said versus my nose. And this is kind of situation that I was kind of referring to more, or tend to be really hard and masculinized. Like, nope, nope, nope. Like, it's more of a triggered no, I think is the thing. Like, no, no, no. One of the practices that I actually do inside the Goddess Reveal plan is laying on your back, putting pillows in between your thighs, squeeze them, and saying the word no. And I've been told it's one of the most healing things in the world. And people's person said, thank you for having this practice in here. Because it's the first time that I've said no. So as a woman, it's very hard for us to say no. So when I know when I'm saying that, I just realized that in certain interactions, like especially while working, I was just saying no. And I wasn't saying like, kind of like what my preference is, or why don't we try this, or let's like, oh, this, my goodness, this would feel so much sexier. Like, you know, I wasn't doing that, or just be like, no, or just be like, okay, I'm gonna wait for something better, you know, like, so it's just kind of a way to say no, but not no in a triggered way. Now, when you're first setting boundaries, often we set boundaries harshly at first, so that's okay too. Um, Oh, 23. I just did it. So this 23 is the art of shifting the conversation. Pretty sure she does this as a defense thing, but like, wow, so using words that lead with what or how, that's a way to kind of switch the conversation this way and switch the conversation that way. Well, you know, how, what, even at the ending of one of the interviews, Daphne was like, last question, like, what do you think? You know, which as a hyper independent woman, like I totally got that she said it out of shyness and stuff. I'm so bad at that because I'm like, I don't want to ask the man for his opinion. I want to just go along with it. Like I want to be the one setting this stuff. But that's how I end up being extra masculinized in my energy world. So suggesting the ending without suggesting the ending, pulling the rug without pulling the rug. I'm showing you stuff that I need to clearly work on, um, just because I've chosen to. So just maybe you like point number 16, but you don't like point number 5. These are just different things. You can pick and choose what you want and what feels good to you. Because I don't want you to feel like you're having to pander to anyone or lower yourself to anyone. Because that's why I stood away from feminine energy for so long because I thought it was like that. Then a bonus tip for men is making a woman laugh. If you can make a gorgeous woman laugh, she will choose you. If you can make a gorgeous woman laugh, you will win major points with her. Um, Another thing that Daphne was asked in the Pillow Talk podcast, like she's like, you work with all these. She's like, you're clearly super sweet, and he's like, you're with all these high powered men. Like, what do you do when they get so up and they get upset with you? And she's like, she admitted, she's like, you know what? And usually I think I'm too kind about it. But I say, like, are you good now? You know, got it all now out? She's like, usually just let them see red. Um, the man get his emotions out. But I think a good way to use this, you could ask, like, are you good now? To double check, like, are you emotionally safe to be in that space? So that's something I would do. Um, And then number 25, I put not kink shaming. So, like, I actually think this is a huge, huge point, especially in the field that I work in. I've met a lot and I know people are going to think bad about me when I say this, but I've met people, a lot of men with kinks that their partners don't know that they have the kinks, and they don't want to be. And the guy, this is actually the conversation back to the Pillow Talk podcast, is they. He's like, I don't want my woman to think differently of me in the morning. And Daphne was like, no, that's my king. So she's like, there might be some, what can I say on YouTube? There might be some dog walking, there might be some swifting, there might be some like chains, but the next day, like, that's still my king. And I think a lot of men are scared that they'll lose themselves in their woman's eyes and their wife's eyes. So I just thought that was important to acknowledge. Okay, now the next few things, and then on YouTube again, I apologize, it's going to be another split because my videos are only allowed to be 15 minutes a piece, or maybe there's not be another split. But the next few ones are things to fix the weaker points of feminine energy, so they're opportunities for growth. We'll just see that. So if you're, I'm just going to read number 26, I'm going to move on because I'm almost embarrassed to say this. So if you're a woman, he should be the one to get the rag after lovemaking. We're just going to move on to point number 27. I'm not going to go into that anymore. 27 is the most powerful man isn't the man who rests on his laurels or what he's known for, but he's one who's grounded in who he is mentally, physically, and spiritually, etc. I'm going to say that again. The most powerful man isn't a man who rests on his laurels, but on what he's known for, or what he's known for, but but a man who knows who's grounded in who he is and knows who he is mentally, physically, and spiritually. I totally messed up the second time I said that, but it's very, very important. Number 28, have your own money. And yes, this comes from a place of a wound within me, but have your own money, or trauma within me. Have your own money. Have your own money. If you don't have your own money, another podcast with Mace and Cameron, the rappers, were talking about this. And Mace was saying that growing up, his mom always told his sisters, whether or not they paid for anything, always have their own money. You know, he's not that you pay, the man can pay for it, you know, but always have your own money. Because if you don't have your own money, you can be compromised. And there is not a clear delineation. I mean, women for thousands of years, this is where it's got wrong, is that we live in a world that operates on money, but yes, being a housewife is a work and is a job. The world does not see it as that, and that does not pay into your bank account. And so I mentioned working Victoria's Secret, and the amount of times that I would see a wife come in and have to ask her husband for money for her underwear, that is so degrading. I don't think even men realize how degrading that is.